Welcome to our podcast, You're Entitled to Our Opinion, where we delve into the Christian life, the Bible, and pretty much anything that's happening in the world today.
But more than just our opinion, we want to share truth that just might change your life.
Now, we don't claim to have all the answers, but we know who does. And our goal is to give him a chance to make a difference in your life.
I'm Jay Scribner.
And I'm Tom Johnson.
And you are entitled to our opinion. You've got your card upside down.
No.
It's
wow. When I think of my mom, I think, wow.
I can say it backwards.
Yes, you can. Wow. So this is the card that I sent my mom. And my mom is still living. She's 92 years old.
92.
And I don't know if I want to live that.
We may never get rid of you. You got those kind of genes.
I do have some long standing genes in there. But I miss her. And, to be 800 miles away, I don't get to see her very often.
Wow.
And she's in the stage of life where things are starting to slow down and become unfocused. But you know what? You think back.
Who are we talking about now?
Yeah. Not your mom, my mom. So we're gonna get into that. Happy Mother's Day, by the way,
Happy
for those
Mom's
that
Day.
are watching us.
That's great.
And we want to celebrate moms today. That is the incredible part about throughout the year we get to take certain days. We love mom every day. But, to take the special day. In fact,
one of the funnest things Kay and I have ever had to do or gotten to do, is our youngest son, when he was senior in high school, he was working at a flower shop here in town. I don't believe it exists anymore. Okay. Plants and Petals.
Oh, yeah.
And that's right across from where Chuck lives, I think. Uh-huh. And he was working there. Okay. He called us one time, getting close to Mother's Day, and said, "Hey, would you guys like to make some extra money?"
Okay.
I said, "Doing what?" Uh-huh. And he said, "Well, for Mother's Day weekend on Saturday, we are going to need some extra help delivering flowers."
Okay.
I said, "Man, that sounds fun." I said, "You don't even have to pay us."
Yeah.
And so we volunteered to do that.
Awesome.
Now, they did end up paying us, which that was just icing on the cake.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, what a fun day.
Oh, yeah.
And so we obviously had lived around town for a long time. We knew our way around. Mm-hmm. And we spent the entire day Saturday, the Saturday before Mother's Day, delivering flowers
awesome
to mothers. And I'm telling you, you talk about a fun gig.
I would say.
When we'd walk up to a house, our arms are filled with flowers. We knock on the door. You talk about a warm, friendly greeting.
Yeah.
It was a fun day that we spent.
That's awesome. Tears in their eyes, a smile from ear to ear.
And getting to say to a lot of mothers, Happy Mother's Day.
That's awesome.
And that's what we're saying to you today. Mm-hmm. Happy Mother's Day.
Besides flowers, I found this interesting. Between 113 and 152 million Mother's Day cards are sent every year.
That's where we should invest.
You think so? It's the number 3 card giving day. Number 1 being, everybody would know, Christmas.
Okay.
Number 2 being Valentine's Day.
Yep.
And those run a really close 1 and 2. But Mother's Day is one of the biggest ones. One of the least card giving days in the United States is?
I'm going to guess Father's Day.
You nailed it.
That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And
we're going to be talking about why, because of the influence of mothers on our lives. And over $1 billion is spent just in Mother's Day cards between buying the cards.
But you're worth it, Mom.
Yes, you are.
There you go.
Yes, you are. Back in, I think it's in 1915, there was a song. And so all of you young kids, you're just going to have to put up with it. But this was written, it's entitled Mother.
Oh, there you go.
And it's the Mother
Oh, yeah.
song. Yes.
I remember that. I didn't get it in 1915, but I remember it.
You do? Okay, well then I'll read it and you can
Sing
enjoy
it.
it with us. I'm not going to sing it because I didn't quite get the whole thing. It starts out, M is for the many things she gave me. And then it goes on,
Yeah.
O means only that she's growing old. T is for the tears she shed to save me. H is for her heart of purest gold. E is for her eyes with love light shining. R means right, and right she'll always be. Put them all together, they spell mother, a word that means the world to me.
I remember that song.
Yeah, I
That's
do.
a neat song.
Now there is another version of that that I heard about 2 decades ago. It's M is for the many things she gave me. O is for the other things she gave me. T is for those 1,000 things she gave me. But mothers. I would have to say, if I were to sum it up in one word, how would I be able to express mother? And you know what? One of them is a giver. She gives us life.
Yep.
She gives us meals every day. She gives us love and kisses on our knees when we, mothers are givers. And it's pretty amazing.
And I tell you what, there's just nothing like a mother. Mm-hmm. I'm a father, but I ain't like a mother.
No, you're not.
And the way that moms love and accept unconditionally.
Yes.
That's what's amazing to me.
Right.
Yeah.
She can be completely exasperated at you 1 minute, and then she lets it go because you're her baby. You're her child.
That's it.
And it reminds me, what's the fourth command? Is in Exodus 20:12. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord God is giving you. And you know what? We were talking last week about Bible translations and paraphrases and Amplified. I think the Amplified Bible would put it this way. Honor your father and your mother that your days may be long. Number one, your dad won't kill you and your mother will keep feeding you if you honor mom and dad, and that your days may be long.
That's a pretty good paraphrase.
Well, it sure works for me. I look back over the days. Tell me things about your mom.
I've had 3 influential mothers in my life.
Uh-huh.
So my mom,
Uh-huh.
She has been deceased 50 years this year.
Oh my.
Yep. She passed away when she was 62, I think.
Okay.
And 62 or 63. And she was just typical mom. I'm telling you, it was one of those things that we knew we could get by with things with mom.
Uh-huh.
If it ever got to the point where she said, I'm going to tell your dad when he gets home, we had crossed the line.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't want to cross the line.
Mm-mm.
But if she ever said that, she meant Dad was going to hear about it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm telling you, we'd much, much, much rather take our risk with Mom. Because she was Mom.
She was Mom.
She'd let you get by with things. She loved you. She loved you. She loved you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful for the fact, Tom, that Mom took us to church. And my dad was not a believer. And matter of fact, he was an alcoholic all my growing up years.
Okay.
And he said to my mother, all right, you can take these kids to church, just don't bring that stuff home. Now, just to clarify before I go any further, I had the privilege to lead my father to Christ when he was 78 years of age.
Okay.
But all my growing up years, it was, you can take these kids to church, just don't bring that stuff home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she took us to church,
Oh, good.
and
Yep.
I'm so thankful for that.
Yep.
And I tell people that, look, I was at church 3 times a week:
Mm-hmm.
Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there before anybody else was there. And the reason was we grew up poor. Matter of fact, I tell people that we were poor.
Oh,
That's with 4 O's.
4 O's. Okay.
And my mother, got a job, among other things. She cleaned the church.
Ah.
And so she was like the church janitor in our small church in central Illinois,
Okay.
which meant she had the key to the church.
Mm-hmm.
And so consequently, it was her responsibility to open the church doors and to lock up the church doors.
Okay.
So we were at church before anybody else was.
I hear you.
And we were there after everybody else had gone home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so grateful for the fact that Mama took us to church.
That's good.
And I got that strong biblical foundation because she took us to church.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
That's
I'm the
good.
baby out of 7.
Ah.
And so
That explains a lot. But
that
go ahead.
explains a lot, you bet, in a lot of ways. And so, again, I'm just so thankful for a mother's love and for a mother's direction spiritually to get us on the right foundation.
That's awesome. My mom also became a believer when I was 4 years old, but Dad did too. And so Mom and Dad and all 5 of us kids, the 7 of us total, we were in church like you were. And that foundation is so vitally important, and especially the example that they set. It's not just that they brought us into the 4 walls and said, all right, church, make them spiritual. They actually lived out a real faith. Was it always pretty? Not always pretty. You know, my mom, she was the disciplinarian in the house, and bless her heart, she had a little bit of an issue with anger. And so she knew where Dad's belt was, and she would be the immediate disciplinarian. I don't think I heard twice in my life, you wait till your dad gets home. Mom took care of it right there. But when I look back, and you know, it's like, yeah, she used that a lot, and she used it aggressively. In fact, I tease, my mom would grab my arm with one hand and the belt with the other, and she would start hitting, and we would start going around in circles as I was trying to get away from that belt. But in that way, when I look back, was that because she was a bad person? Exact opposite.
Sure.
She wanted her children to love God, to love each other, and to be people of character as we grew up. And so when I look back, you know, was she perfect? No. But she was so full of love for God and love for us that she fed us, she clothed us. We the OOOR poor.
Yeah.
You know, I know exactly. My dad had 3 jobs when I was born, and only because he had to be able to support us. But again, it was that character that they lived out in front of us, taking us, making sure we knew about God, but living a life of character and quality that when I look back and I think, thank you, Lord, for my mom, for my dad.
Wow.
Amazing.
You talked about the belt. I heard one time about a parent that had a belt hanging in the kitchen with a Christian motto underneath of it, which was, I need thee every hour.
Oh, it's amazing. You know, we have a situation right now. You came from a family of 5 kids or 7 kids.
Yeah.
I had 5 kids. In fact, I love to tell the story about the block that we lived on. We were on the corner, and just the four houses that looked at each other on the corner of the street. Bill Myers had 7 kids. Masters only had 3, but the parishes had 5, and we had 5. We had enough for a baseball team just in those 4 houses. So back then, there were so many children, and the moms, most of them, almost all of them that I knew, stayed home and provided the nurturing for the kids, for all of us kids. Today, we're seeing a major decline in motherhood. In fact, we mentioned this, I think it was last year, that the replenishing rate for a population is 2.1 children per family. Right now, the United States is operating at a 1.6 children per family. The population is decreasing because motherhood is decreasing. And there's a lot of reasons why women especially are choosing not to be moms. And it's kind of heartbreaking in a way.
Sure.
And in that the whole role of nurturing and mothering isn't lost, but it's actually being shoved down line to self-actualization, to I want to be a part of, I want to do this. And it's kind of the big I that's raising its heads up in with the women today. And they see motherhood as demeaning, as incapacitating. I can't do what I want to do. Let's talk about that for a little bit in the especially in our relationship with God, is that we're having this issue in our society that is not producing more believers even within the church.
Sure. And it's been happening for decades, Tom, to be honest with you, to where there's this movement and mentality within families to where we have become, a long time ago, a 2-income family.
Right.
And with that has been the motivation for mothers to want to work, or in some cases, economically, to have to work. I remember specifically talking to a family a number of years ago when they were just starting to have children, and I said to her, they were in our church, and I said to her, are you going to stay at home for a while? And she said, I'm going to stay at home until the kids are out of school.
Okay.
And it was very emphatic. She had worked up to that point.
Okay.
And so I was assuming that that she might stay home for a brief period of time. I loved it when she said, I'm staying at home until the kids are out of school, which is what she did.
Awesome.
And actually ended up homeschooling her kids. And then she made this statement early on when she said, I'm staying at home. She said, that's really going to affect us financially.
Right.
But she said, we believe it'll be worth it.
Yes.
What a tremendous statement.
That's awesome. Yeah.
We believe it will be worth it for me to be at home and to be the mother to our children.
Yeah. That's really cool because I don't think I ever heard my mom say this, but that's what she did. She stayed at home for most of our being in school, except for my youngest sister and my youngest brother. She went and got her nursing degree, and she was on duty from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. She never was not available to her children, even when she began to work.
Yeah.
And it's just, but it's that passion, it's that calling, it's that mentality that we're going to raise up quality people. And that's really
Yeah.
cool that she would do that too.
My wife worked, we were married 7 years before we had our first child.
Okay.
And she worked up until a month before he was born. And she didn't go back to work until they were in elementary school.
Okay.
And the first job that she got after that was only because there were a couple of men in our church that saw her talents, her abilities, and they said, would you be willing to come to be our secretary and to work for us? Here's what she said. She said, yeah, I'd consider that, except I can't come in until 9 o'clock in the morning, and I've got to be home by 3:30 in the afternoon. And she said, because I'm not going to not be home when my boys are home. And she said, if you're interested in those hours, I'd be interested in working. And they said on the spot, you're hired.
Oh, my.
And so that's when she went back to do some work. But it was only on her terms, as long as she could be there with the kids. And so, again, I admire that. I had her give a motherhood testimony one time on Mother's Day. I used to do that at church, Tom, to where on Mother's Day I would many times not preach a sermon. I would let the mothers share testimonies.
Okay.
And it worked out great. We got in a habit of doing that because they were so good. And so I would usually have like 3 mothers talk about motherhood, share their testimony.
That's good.
And so one time Kay shared hers, and she said, well, when the boys were growing up, she said, we would do a whole lot of playing at home. And she said, we would trash the house. And then we would go outside and play. And then at that point, we would come in and make cookies. She never did talk about cleaning up the house. No, we'd trash the house. We'd go outside and play. We'd come in and make cookies.
You know,
I tell you what, we've got great memories with that.
See, that's so important because it's the priority. The kids are the priority. The clean house isn't the priority. It's being able to interact and encourage them and mentor them in things.
That's a great perspective right there.
That's awesome. You know, and we don't want to trash those people, the women that work. You know, that's a decision that has to be made between them and God.
Yeah.
And then follow through with what we just talked about, raising your children. If you're going to be a working mom, make sure you raise the children in the fear and admonition of the Lord.
Yeah.
Because that's the vital thing. The clean house, the whatever, the most important thing is the relationships.
Yep.
And being able to walk with them and grow them in their faith.
You know, in talking with men and women, a lot of times, quickly I will say, and what do you do? And so even with women, I will use the term or the phrase, do you work outside the home?
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. They work inside the home whether they got another job or not. And so I use the term, do you work outside the home? Interestingly, there are a lot of stay-at-home moms that will many times they will apologetically say, no, I'm just a stay-at-home mom.
I hate that word, just.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, when they say that to me, whether they say it I'm just or whether they say, no, I stay at home,
right?
Man, at that point, I begin to applaud them. And I say to them, wow, what a great choice you've made to be a stay-at-home mom.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, ladies, that is a phenomenal choice.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it might be a difficult choice, maybe economically or just with your own motivation, but it is a great choice.
Absolutely.
I
It's a
just
priority.
applaud mothers that do that.
Mm-hmm. We've got one more aspect of motherhood that came to my mind that I think we need to address is the single moms. There
Oh
are
wow!
well, let me look. The 80 to 85% of single parent households in the U.S. are led by mothers.
80 to 85%.
80 to 85%. And the numbers are absolutely insane, the number. And there's, one of the things, single mother households are more likely to face lower income levels compared to single fathers. The children impact 19 million children under 18 live with a single mom.
Say that
19
million?
million children
Wow.
under the age of 18 live with their mom. And I mean, kudos. I mean, the reasons, who knows why.
I've been acquainted with a number of single mothers that have done an exceptional job of being both mom and dad
Yep.
in that home. And I'm with you. A standing ovation here.
Absolutely. And that's why the church is so vital in being able to. There's a young man in our church that walked up to our friend, our pastor Chuck, and he said, I never had parents that raised me, and especially a father. But it's like, when he made that admission out of his mouth, it's like, how can we then come around and surround and be that help, especially for single moms? When I look at our church body and I think, there's a single mom, there's a single mom, there's a single mom. How can we support them, love them, be there for them so
encourage
that
them,
they
pray for them.
they're not alone? That's the big thing, is there is that sense of being alone. And for the body, that ought not be.
Yep. Before we leave, I want to give honor to those three mothers that have been influential in my life.
Okay.
My mom,
Mm-hmm.
and I've already shared about her,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother-in-law.
Ah.
I'll tell you what, I was not only grateful to know her because I married her daughter,
Uh-huh.
but she was such a godly mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that. I observed that.
Yep.
And then the mom that lives at our house.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, Kay has just been the epitome and still is. And now she's a nana.
Mm-hmm.
And she is living her dream with those 8 grandkids.
That's awesome.
But I just got to applaud the 3 influential mothers in my life.
That's great. And I echo that, because I've had the same 3. And now as I look back, you didn't have daughters. You have daughter-in-laws, but I have 2 daughters that are carrying on the tradition of educating and nurturing. And you know what? I think you said it right. We need to continually pray, because God is able to take each one of them and just speak into them love and joy so that they can pour out on their families. And that's awesome.
One of the best images I think I've seen is a kangaroo, a mother kangaroo with a joey, the baby kangaroo, in her pouch. And then what it said at the bottom was mothers. How was it put? Oh, mothers determine the viewpoint of their children.
That's good.
I think that's a great way to end this.
Yep.
And it's a great declaration. Mothers determine the viewpoint of their children.
There you
And
go.
all it was a picture of
King.
mother kangaroo
Mm-hmm.
and the Joey looking out of her pouch.
That's awesome.
That's good.
Moms, thanks so much for fulfilling your calling. And we pray that God will bless you. And especially on Mother's Day, we hope you get flowers, cards, hugs.
And lots
take
of
out
chocolate.
to eat. What's that?
Lots of chocolate.
Lots of chocolate. There you go. God bless you. Thanks again for joining us. And always remember, you're entitled to our opinion. Friends, you can contact us at yourentitled777@gmail.com. Also on Facebook.com, You're Entitled to Our Opinion. Jay's video blog, Here's Hope America, can be found on Facebook.com, Here's Hope America. Tom's blog, Durf Nerfel's Thought of the Day, you can find at Facebook.com/Durf Nerfel's TOTD, but also you can sign up to receive it by email on the website durfnerfel.us. Share our opinion. As with all podcasts, you, our listeners, are the way people join us as you share the podcast with them. You're Entitled to Our Opinion has been recorded at Flat Frog Studio, Hollister, Missouri.